Welcome into the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. We have a really good show today, folks. What we're doing, a little bit different than normal, is we're going to recap for you. We're going to do a little post-mortem on the weekend that was Pawtographs for Pooches at the Palmerhousehotel in Sauk Center. Normally, we just kind of let the weekend lie, kind of let it go. But some interesting stuff happened there. And some stuff I thought was rather interesting. Because, let's face it, normally, I'm quite the paranormal cooler. This weekend, no such thing as that happened this past weekend. So I figured we'd run it back and we would bring Tim and laurenmaile on, the founders of Pawtographs for Pooches. And we would bring in psychic medium Scotty Rorek on and try to sort through some of what happened this past weekend. And kind of recap the weekend and recap the good that happened and maybe some of the not so good that happened this weekend, but also highlight some of the really good that happened this weekend. And that was some of the money raised for Tri-County Animal Shelter out there in St. Cloud, Minnesota. So let's introduce our players and then we'll get to it. Timmaile first founded Pawtographs for Pooches in 2013 as a way to create a legacy for his shelter rescue pup, Murray. Tim credits Murray for saving his life in 2007, and since 2013, together they've raised money for animal shelters across the country through Pawtographs events, which combine Tim's love of animals, his love of the paranormal, and his message of hope. Even though Murray passed away in October of 2019, Tim continues Murray's legacy with his wife, Lauren, by raising money in his name. As of June of 2025, Pawtographs had raised $138,600. There's a new total for that now, to save the lives of animals. And of course, we have a link in the description of this program. So if you choose to continue sending money and doing so, and I highly encourage you to do so, we'll get that total even higher. We'll tell you how much through Tim and Lauren. We'll tell you how much we raised over the weekend here in just a moment. As far as our other guest today, Scotty Rorek is a psychic medium whose mission is to bring spiritual understanding to people searching for answers. He works towards that mission through education, mediumship, and mentoring. To educate people, Mr. Rorek created ztalkradio.com. If you've never heard of ztalkradio.com before, I think you're probably living under a rock. I mean, it's been around for a long, long time.
2008.
Yeah, 2008. It's been around forever. It's an internet radio station that focuses on paranormal and psychic programming. In addition to that, Scotty provides insightful lectures at paranormal and psychic conventions. As a medium, Scotty provides messages to many people for their comfort, assistance, and guidance, both as individual and group readings. His mediumship has also been featured in the Booth Brothers documentary Children of the Grave 2, and soon a documentary Lily's Cry, which is a Ghost Walk Studios film. Because of Scotty's experience with his psychic perceptions, he often guides and mentors others who are trying to understand and use their psychic abilities. His care and concern for others is central to his mission. So let's welcome in Tim and laurenmaile and Scotty Rorek. Welcome, folks.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for having us.
So
great seeing you again.
It's good seeing you as well. And thank you, all three of you, for being on. So Tim and Lauren, right off the bat, let's get to the really good. How much was raised this past weekend for Tri-County Animal Shelter there in St. Cloud?
When all was said and done, we raised $2,691 for the shelter, and that actually brings our total to just over $142,000.
Nice.
So inching closer and closer to 150, which has kind of become the unspoken goal, and I guess I just spoke it into existence. But yeah, really great weekend. Raising that kind of money with the smaller crowd that we had was pretty impressive. I was real proud of everything we did last weekend.
Yeah, most definitely. And what events are coming up in the future that we can look forward to 150? Because we got to put it out there, right?
We have Murray's big birthday celebration coming up in April of 2026 in Houghton Lake, Michigan.
Okay. So looking into the future, of course, that's there. And I take it there's probably some before that maybe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak it into existence.
There's we've got Silicon in Central Illinois coming up in September. We'll be at Old Mill Parafest in Dundee, Michigan in November. And then and that one actually hasn't been announced, so spoiler alert.
Okay.
And then there's another event that has not yet been announced, but we're going to be part of a suicide awareness and prevention event at Ashmore Estates next year, early April.
Nice.
So excited about all those events and able to help shelters in those areas. But of course, the big one for us every year is the Parafest, and this is the 7th one. Just so happens to land on Murray's 20th birthday.
There you go. Well, see, and good things will happen, and by then, more than 150,000. I'm already predicting it. I'm already calling it. So there you go. There you go. So this weekend was incredibly interesting. I'll even go beyond incredibly interesting in that I always expect whenever I go on an investigation that it's going to be a little cooler than normal wherever I go. It was far from that this weekend. And I don't know what happened. I can't say, but I was pleasantly surprised. It was jumping, and it was jumping in more ways than I would expect. And I truth in advertising, I was in the basement the entire time, which was kind of a nice surprise. And my partner in crime the entire weekend was Scotty, and who was an excellent partner in crime to have.
Thank you.
Scotty, you don't have to say the same if you don't want.
No, you were great. I mean, you always say that you're a cooler. I didn't see any of that this weekend. I mean, there was not 1 second that you affected what was going on and cooled it down. I mean, you actually stirred it up. I mean, you were there increasing the activity, helping it move on. And I think that was awesome. So we debunked you as a cooler. So there you go. So
Well,
you no longer can say that. So
I guess I can't.
you can't, because it was great. I mean, you were contributing and you brought the spirits through, and I was able to confirm a few, and it was great. It was really kind of neat.
Now, to kind of give people a frame of reference, this isn't the first time that you and Tim have worked together. You and Tim have worked together in other scenarios. If you could, Scotty, tell me how you and Tim have worked together in the past.
Tim started on Z Talk, believe it or not, and he had a show on there, and him and I then became friends, and he said, "You want to go on an investigation?" I said, "Sure," and I went up to his house. I should have thought about it more, because I went into his house without telling anybody where I was going or anything. So I was like, "Man, I'm going to get killed." And then they put me in their car and then just took me out into the middle of nowhere to this house, and I was like, "Ooh, creepy." But ever since then, Tim and I have been best friends. So it was an amazing night that we had our first night together. So, I got to meet his dad, who has passed. Murray was there to give me some loving. I love Murray.
Mhm.
So it was really cool. Yeah, we had a great time, and we've been best friends ever since. And how many years has that been, Tim?
13, I think.
13, 14, something like that.
Yeah. I think we worked together in 2012 for the first time.
Yeah.
On the case, and we've probably worked a couple of dozen residential cases together since then, and then did some traveling together. So yeah, it's been a while.
Yep. So, in the paranormal, when you get a friend, it's nice to have them. You always got their back, and they always have yours, and that's what Tim and I have for each other. And now we have Lauren to help, and Lauren can beat up people for us now. I'm getting too old.
Well, I hear you. We all get to that age where we need to stop beating up people and probably just start shaking hands, right?
No, I need Lauren to do it right now.
Yeah, I'll beat them all.
Okay.
I got you.
I'll take them.
I beat myself up. I fall downstairs. So
now we'll get to that later. Well, don't get ahead of ourselves here, Scotty. You got to save the juicy stuff for later.
I know.
So the first night, we split into teams, and Tim and Lauren took the upstairs. Now, Tim and Lauren, if you would, tell us a little bit about where you were upstairs and what was going on there.
Go ahead.
Oh, we basically we had very minimal activity the first night.
Yeah.
And basically trying to keep our group entertained and go to whatever room we thought may give us the best chance of that. We were in the kids' room. That's where we had the most activity. We got a response to the shave and a haircut knock on the door. It wasn't a knockback, but it was the sound, like somebody was making the sound very faintly. But yeah, and there was another instance where I said I was going to count to 3 and you could bang on the wall. And as soon as I said I'm going to count to 3, there was a bang on the wall. They didn't wait. So those were the two things that happened. We got to know the groups the first night, their personalities, what they wanted to get out of the experience. Just a real quick shout out to Scott Hendricks.
Yeah.
Was very what's
Informative.
the word? Informative. Yeah, that's what I'm looking.
Knowledgeable.
Yeah, look at me doing a show and not knowing how to speak English. No, he was very knowledgeable, informative, entertaining, and really helped us keep people interested. So that was an added bonus. Really loved working with him. I told him that the next day. We had a really good group of people. I don't know what everybody else's experience was, but the small crowd we had, just a good group of people.
Yeah.
They were really... even on Thursday before we got into this, because it started Friday night, so we got there early on Thursday. And some of the group was walking around and they went by the kids' room and they said hello, and all of a sudden they heard back, not on an EVP, they heard back, hello. So, I mean, they were getting stuff before we even started the event. So it was kind of neat.
So they audibly heard hello.
Yep.
Wow. It makes me wish I could have came up Thursday. I got caught behind with work and stuff. I wanted to come up Thursday, but I wasn't able to.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I was glad. So, you know, it was funny because when I always call her my manager, but when my handler Gail was there, we walk in and I walk into a place, you know, we think it's going to be empty, and I walk in and everyone goes, Scotty, and she goes, this is ridiculous. Everybody knows you everywhere. I said, yeah, they do. But yeah, they all had their activities. They were willing to tell me right away of stuff they had going on all day Thursday when they got there. So that was I already knew it was going to be a great weekend based off of that, because if you're getting stuff before the investigation, even better.
Interesting indeed. So with that, you know, on Friday, although Tim and Lauren are saying, well, you know, we don't know that, you know, much of anything was going on upstairs. We seem to have plenty going on downstairs.
We had plenty going on in all but one room.
Yeah.
One room just all of a sudden shut down on us at night, but the rest of the spaces were really, really hopping. We were getting, we had our REM pod that was going. We had our dead belt, which was going a lot. And we always ask it 1 for yes, 2 for no. And we always get yes or no. So we were able to ask yes or no questions, which was really cool. We had dowsing rods. We had all kinds of things that were all confirming everything that was going on. So it wasn't just one piece of evidence. It was one piece, and then everything heard. The people heard it. And then we even used our boxes. You know, we didn't do any SE session until Saturday night, but Friday night we had just a box playing, so we could talk with them that way too. But yes, in our first room, we got a lot of things happening. We were able to meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
From the hotel. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's tell people a little bit about those people in the basement, because what's interesting is things changed a little bit from night 1 to night 2. But do you remember some of those people? Because I do. I want to refer to you as to who you remember, and then I'll kind of fill in from
I remember the 2 ladies that were very timid at first, but by the end of Saturday night, they were just all in. They had
the actual living people. I thought you were talking about spirits.
Oh, we could talk about them too, but
okay.
We can talk about, but that was my biggest my biggest aha for the weekend was those two ladies, because
Mhm.
they came in without much experience at all, and then they were able to sense and feel, and then the last night they were actually able to have their loved ones come through to them, which was really cool, and really confirmed their belief in the paranormal, which I guess this is what it's all about.
Right. Right.
So for that, I think that's the biggest aha of the weekend. And I'm very, very proud of that, that we were able to help initiate that and help them along in that journey.
I saw, as far as the living, I saw a lot of people who had some kind of flourishing experiences too. That kind of they had their eyes opened up to a lot by the time Saturday night was over. Like
Right,
they just kind of went, "What did I just see?" Right.
right. And
And
that was the greatest thing about the Palmer House, was that all the spirits there, because none of the spirits are necessarily evil, because necessarily don't believe in that, but we can always talk about that later. But as we went through the night, I mean, all the spirits came through. I mean, all the spirits of the hotel came through. We had traveling salesman
Mhm,
come through. What,
mhm.
what was his name? Nick?
Eric.
Eric was a traveling salesman. We had a Native American. He came through. We had a lady, Eve.
Mhm.
Remember Eve? Eve came through. We had, we had like 5 or 6 spirits. So go ahead and ask, because you probably have way better memory than me.
I remember Eve. I remember there was a second female spirit too that came through.
Mhm.
That was more of a. I think you called her a maid, but she wasn't
Yes,
really a maid, right?
right. Yeah, she was more of a concubine. I don't know if that's the word.
Well, sure, for remaining PG, sure. I guess that's a good way of putting it.
Lady
Um,
of the night.
Lady of the Night, sure, that's a good way of putting it. There was also, I think briefly there was
Oh, we
someone,
had the kids. We had the 2 kids.
right? The two kids. Yep. Now, the one was called himself Matt the first
Right.
night.
Yep.
I have
And then he
something
changed the
interesting.
second night.
Well, no, we'll tackle that
Okay.
after the break. I want to hold that
Okay.
for after the break, and then
All right.
I'm trying to remember what the girl's name was. Do you remember what the girl's name was?
Girl.
Girl, yes, girl, of course.
I don't
Um,
know. I forget. It was
Gabby? Was it Gabby?
Gabby. Gabby. Yep.
Gabby. All right. Yeah.
Gabby.
Um, but interestingly enough, okay, so one of the things that we noticed on the first night when we're sitting in the basement was that at any particular time, I know that at first the Native American gentleman called himself Bob because we couldn't pronounce his name,
Correct.
or supposedly his name wasn't pronounceable.
Yeah.
And so we were calling him Bob, but it seemed like even calling him Bob was making him upset. Is that fair to
It
say?
was. Yeah,
Because
it was, because that's really not his name. And then all the townspeople would call him Bob, just out of the fact that a Native American, you've got to have an American name. So you're
Mhm.
Bob. So yeah, that wasn't a great name for him. And we found out the second name, what his name was, the Americanized version of his name, because he still didn't tell us what his real Lakota name was.
And then something occurred to me, and I'll reveal it in the second half of the program as to what it was exactly that um I think might have made him a little angry. I think he was eavesdropping on us when we were sitting on the couch on Friday.
Right,
Um because we were kind of joking between ourselves,
right.
and
We were.
I think he might have heard it. So I
I
think he
know he did.
yeah, so I think he took it kind of hard and came back. Well, I know he came back at me. I don't know, but
Right.
he might have come back at you guys, and we'll talk about that as well here. So
Oh,
so
and the dogs. Don't forget the dogs. We
yes,
had the dogs come through.
now explain for those people who aren't familiar with the lore of the dogs down in the basement. What exactly are they?
And it was great because Gail was the one that saw them and was able to describe the dogs. I think she said they were, I think, huskies or something. I can't remember what breed she brought them in, but but she was able to see all three of them, and they were running up and down the hallway. They were with one of the owners, one of the people. They used to live and work there, and they all passed, but they're all still there because this is where they roamed and had a good time. So, and we were doing things for dogs for the weekend and photographs, so it was kind of nice to have them around too and showing themselves to us.
There's one other spirit you said that appeared that no other person's told me ever before has been around. I guess that no other psychics told me he's been around, and that's Mrs. Palmer. You said Mrs.
Yeah.
Palmer had been around a few times.
Yeah.
Can you
She
tell me
was-
the different things she said?
Yeah, sure. She was my first one in when I got there. She welcomed me back to the Palmer House because last time I was there about 3 years ago. So her and I had a great experience last time. We did an SD session together, and she was able to talk. And it was kind of funny because her and Mr. Palmer were fighting over me. They both wanted me to talk with them. So, but Mrs. Palmer always won. So that's why she came in. But she was very happy to have us all there for the weekend. She loves when events go on in that place. She loves when it's busy, popular. That's her biggest thing is to see the place back in its glory. And that was her biggest thing. She welcomed me. She says anything I need, she'll be around, but she wasn't going to be in the investigations that night herself. So she just wanted to let me know she was still there. So she said, I want the spirits of the building to talk to you guys tonight. So I said, okay.
So
And she
she's
didn't show up. She didn't show up into the rest of the thing. She was just there for the greet, and then she said goodbye when I left. So
it's interesting that she's okay to sit back and watch the others perform, so to speak, or watch
Right.
the others come forward and talk to you, but that she's okay with just being a bystander. That's
she's but she's more like a master of ceremonies.
yeah.
She's more of this is my she's like grandiose, and she's like, welcome to my place. She even she always calls it her place. It's not her husband's, it's hers.
Huh.
She decorated it, she made it what it is, and so she's always been very happy with it. So that's what the coolest thing is. But yeah, she's very grandiose, very happy. But so as a master of ceremonies, you're not in every scene. You're there just to kind of get things going. So yeah, she was very fun.
So to kind of get to the end of Friday night here, I think it's safe to say, Tim and Lauren, you didn't have a whole lot happen upstairs. Is that safe to say, right?
Yep, that's totally fair.
It's totally fair. Okay. We had a whole bunch kick off downstairs. Things with Bob were a little tense.
Yeah.
We did have some good activity talking to Eve, talking to these other spirits, but they didn't really say a whole hell of a lot other than there were times, and this is what was kind of alarming, where a spirit would come through and say help or pain
Right.
but we didn't know what that was coming from. And we were assuming at the time, is it safe to say, Scotty, that we thought it was because Bob was there, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's what we thought.
That's what we thought, that Bob was.
That's first night thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. And I assumed it too, that it was whenever Bob came in, that Bob was the one who was suppressing everyone. Right. And
Right. 'Cause people would shut up and stuff and not talk when he was around. And
yeah. And he was kind of a dominant spirit who came forward and needed to be heard, and everyone kind of disappeared in the background. So
right.
we assumed that Bob was the one who was causing pain to all these other spirits. We found something else different that happened on night 2, though. Keep in mind that when Bob disappeared, the little kids would come back around, and Matt loved playing with the bell. He was one that loved
Yeah,
playing.
he always go ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd always play with the bell. Yeah.
And so at one point, Scotty's like, "Oh, go ahead, play with the bell, ring it for me," and
He did.
and he did, and Eve came back for a little bit, but Eve was the one who also said for a little while, "Stop, pain, no."
Right.
We were wondering why she was saying that when Bob was clearly gone, but we could bring him back at any time, right? To
Right.
kind of
Right.
say more, right? Okay. All right. So with that, we're going to leave you on that cliffhanger. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Saturday. Saturday was a bizarre day. Okay, so I'm gonna set the scene with this. When I came to the building Friday, I get out of my van. Although I've had quite a few van repairs, I pretty much have summed up my van repairs with about $8,000 that I've sunk into it. I locked it up tight, rolled up the windows, made sure, my keys were away from everything. I didn't want anybody to touch my key fob or anything, and I came downstairs to join everybody. Keep in mind, Bob did not like me the first night, and we'll explain why when we come back from break. We'll get into that whole thing. And then we'll talk about what it was everybody seemed to see when they went to breakfast on Saturday morning. We'll explain why Bob didn't like me and what we think might have happened. That's coming up on the other side of the break. Tim and Laurenmaile from Pawtographs for Pooches are with us, and Scotty Rorek, psychic medium. We're talking about the Pawtographs at the Palmer House event that went on last weekend at the Palmer House. We're kind of doing a little bit of a post-mortem because it was a very interesting weekend. Again, it raised $2,691 for the Tri-County Humane Society there in St. Cloud. When we come back, what's up with Bob, or what about Bob, and what's going on in the basement? So we'll talk about that next here on the Best in Paranormal Podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the Best in Paranormal Podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My guests are Tim and Laurenmaile from Pawtographs for Pooches and Scotty Rorek, psychic medium. We're talking about the Pawtographs at the Palmer House event, which went on this past weekend at the Palmer House, raised $2,691 for the Tri-County Humane Society in St. Cloud. All right. So, Saturday comes, and I want to refer back to Tim and Lauren here because I want to get to some of the good stuff here that happened Saturday during the day. Tim, Lauren, I want you to pick it up from here for a little bit. We were given the option as speakers to go over to Tri-County and go tour the facility, learn a little bit about the facility. I want to give them a little bit of love here, but I want the facts and figures to come from you. I might be a little sketchy about this, but tell us a little bit about Tri-County and some of the good work they do over there in St. Cloud.
I'll defer to Lauren on this one.
Why?
Why? Okay, I won't. We were Tri-County Humane Society was referred to us by Joy Klimke. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And Joy deserves a lot of credit because she pretty much set up everything for this event at the Palmer House. So big thank you to Joy. Set us up with a fantastic shelter. Lauren was in contact with them in the days leading up, set up the time for the tour. Got there a little bit late because I misjudged how far away it was. But they could not have been more gracious. They took us around, showed us all the cats, all of the guinea pigs and rats, all of the dogs.
Oh, I totally missed that room.
Yeah.
Good, me too. No way. I was not going in.
I did not know that it even existed until today, actually.
But there were a lot of there were a lot of animals I would have taken home if I could have.
Yeah.
But you could tell that they were cared for very well there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in some shelters where you just walk in and go, yikes.
And you go, that's a very sad situation.
Yeah. But this one was much different. The animals seemed legitimately happy.
They get to go on 4 walks a day,
which is, always
that's insane.
And we were told that the average stay there before they get adopted is 8 days.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Incredible turnaround. I cannot remember how many animals they said that they adopted out. I think it was in the 5,000 range.
It was close to 5,000, they said, yeah.
Yeah, for 2024. So
Yeah.
very busy place, very active place, and just you could tell everybody really cared about the animals, which is fantastic. Met a few animals that really tugged at the heartstrings. Had fantastic conversation on the way to the shelter and on the way back. I mean, we were in a car with Tim and Scotty and there was somebody.
Gail. We were
Gail.
sardined.
But we had a great time. Good conversation. We went to the shelter on Saturday, and I think it really I think it lit a fire under everybody, knowing this is what we're doing this for.
Mhm.
And I love to be able to do that. Just a great situation. Just enjoyed it all, and just really thankful to work with a shelter that cares as much as Tri-County does.
Yeah. There's a little kitty that I think we all got sucked in. I think the kitty's name was Lolly or Lolly Warp or something like that. And the kid knew how to sell. We'll put it that way. Put the little,
Not more than the dog got it, you and me.
oh yeah, Mocha got us. Yeah.
Nope, that was bad.
But Lolly Warp would wrap her little paws around the bars and get up there and mew 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 mew. She's a little kitty. She would, she'd make you think she was suffering, and absolutely they were torturing her, and you absolutely had to come get her, and you had to come pet her. And by the time you'd say, "Oh, can I see that one?" Oh, she was climbing up your shoulder and just loving you up, and oh, thank you so much for letting me out, and yeah, and just giving you that sell job, like, well, now you can take me home. you know but yeah,
We had that with Mocha. Mocha got us.
yeah,
Mocha was
Mocha
the
got
dog,
us in the
and
meeting.
he was in with all the dogs, and we got in there, and he was sitting in the back. He had the collar of shame on, because he just
The
had
cone, yes.
cone of shame, whatever that thing is. And he was sitting in the back on his bed, and he just looks at us and he goes, and we're like, oh, that right away got us. But he did like 10 times. And he could move up just a little bit. Like he was hurting, like he couldn't move. And he kept doing that. And him like, oh, we got to take him out and pet him and stuff. And the guy didn't seem well. We took him out. The moment he got out, boom, he was completely different. He was like running. He was making bridges under Gail's legs and goes. He was no way at all hurt or sad or nothing. He just wanted to play, and so he got us.
He was
back.
so happy.
He
was so happy.
suckered us in.
He was putting on such an act that he even got me to shed a couple of tears. He was that he was such
he
a
was
good
good.
actor.
He was very good.
He got me though, but he such a cute little pup, that's for sure. Only 2.5 years old, Mocha was.
I know, that was really, he was cute.
Yeah, quite cute. Yeah, a little bit of a lab and something else. I don't remember what.
I don't remember the other part, but yeah,
what the
he was like he looked exactly like Mocha.
Yeah, looked like a little Mocha dog. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, but yeah,
it was a great time. I had fun there. So.
It was an excellent time to go out to Tri-County and go meet the volunteers and meet the animals there, and really, just like Tim said, it keeps you focused on what it is you're working for, and really does light a fire under you. It really, gives you motivation to get out there and work twice as hard. That's for sure. So we got back to the Palmer, got focused and got ready to go, and I think we were sitting on the couch, and we were kind of joking around about what had happened earlier in the morning, which was this. A lot of you had gone to breakfast at around 9:30. I'm not a breakfast guy. So I get a little bit later in the morning, and I had gotten up at about, I think, 11, because I'd stayed up late to talk to everybody and stuff like that. And I kept hearing from people, the windows in your van are open and your van's unlocked. Did you do that? Did you do that to get some air? Now, you don't ever, I don't care how rural things are, especially Sauk Center, Minnesota. You don't ever let your van windows down anywhere, especially in Stearns County. I don't care who you are, right? I'm like, no, I didn't do that. Are you saying my windows are down? Right? So I think Carrie might have been the first person to come to me and say, "Oh, by the way, your van windows are down." So
he doesn't sound like Kermit.
Hey, Kermit Frog.
I can do a Kermit voice, but I choose not to. But I was like, oh God, and then somebody else said, yeah, your van windows are down. Did you know that?
I said it too.
We said it to me too, and I was like, what? I'm choosing not to believe it in my head. So I go out there, and sure enough, van windows are down, everything's unlocked, and I start to go through the van like, okay, I'm expecting to see my radio gun. I'm expecting to see. I had 2 bags full of merchandise and merch for sale in the van, and a bunch of stuff that I wanted to donate for auction, right? And I'm like, oh God, I bet you that's gone too. And I'm just expecting to see things. And I had my scooter in there, and I'm expecting my scooter to be gone because the scooter had the key in it and everything. I go in and I start carefully looking at everything. Not a thing is missing. And I'm like, all right, this is really bizarre, right? So I think I came back in. I think the first thing I asked you is I said, so did Bob do it?
I figured it was a spirit because it just wasn't, it was so weird. I've not had that happen.
Now,
And it was on the property, so it was right there where the spirits could touch it, right outside.
it was the second car from right next to the building. I mean,
Right.
it was right there. Now, what would give Bob pause to want to do it? Well, essentially, Scotty, finding out why Bob had such an issue with me, I guess should I explain?
You should explain.
Okay. So, essentially, in my heritage and my history on my grandmother's side, my father's mother's side, the Trombley family came from France down through Canada. And let's just say the Trombley boys weren't so nice when it came to how they settled Canada. They left their white wives and picked up with Native American women, and pretty much slept with them and left them, slept with them and left them, slept with them and left them, and eventually got back with their wives. But to them, that was their idea of decadence, right? But they were not so nice to the native Canadians, Native Americans, however you want to address them, or the natives. They were rather cruel and unusual, including deals, trading deals, whatever there was. And I can imagine there was probably some atrocities there too that I'm not privy to, right? So Bob didn't like me. Bob assumed that I was like them.
Correct. And I mean, because that night as we went on, and I'll skip over the part right now that we should talk about, me and my David Blaine moment, but we'll skip over it for now. We'll keep talking about Bob. Let's talk about Bob. Talk about Bob. And anyway, so Bob, we found out the rest of the evening, Bob was shot by the locals in Sauk Center area before it really was Sauk Center. And he was just walking, doing nothing, and the guys very similar to your family would come in and just mess around with the town, and then they would leave, and that's what happened. And he ended up being a casualty of one of those nights. And and they ended up calling him Bob. They ended up calling him that. And so he was a spirit, very, very territorial now, because he likes the land yet, and that's why he's still around, because he's protective of the land yet even today, because it's the First Nations land, and now we're all there. So he's still very, 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 very into the land. So then we got a very different perspective of him after we knew what really happened,
Well, and I think with the group that was sitting there, there was even a little bit of a misunderstanding as to why he would still be there.
Right.
They said, well, what would it take for you to move on? Because obviously they didn't understand that it's his land. They didn't understand that
Right.
it's literally his land, even beyond in death.
Correct.
So they
Because
didn't
his boys, because we found out about his family, his boys lived there yet, and they were moved on with the natives into the reservations. Everybody was just moved and pushed, and that's why he's there, because I want my land back. We need to have, this is our land. It still needs to be, or we need to be represented or something. He is still very upset about that.
Right. and to him it's a vendetta, right?
Right.
And
Right.
you're
So that's
basically
why he comes that's why he comes across cranky, and that's why he comes across like that. But he's actually a really nice guy. Because
right.
or we should say that about, if you can say that about a spirit, but
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, you may be a nice person, but in the meantime, you're still squatting on his land.
correct.
Right. And
Correct.
I think that's what our group wasn't understanding. You may be
Right.
a nice person. It might not have been you who took the land, but it was your ancestors.
Right.
You know, and until you reverse that, he still has a problem with you.
Right.
And that's what our group wasn't getting.
Correct. They weren't. I don't think anyone did. I mean, I know you and I did, because we would look at each other and go, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we understood it, but nobody else really understood that. That's, that is more powerful than moving on.
Right. Right. And I think the other thing that our group didn't quite get either, and I didn't want to get too deep into it, because then you're talking theology and philosophy, right? Is
Right.
for him, what is there to move on to? Because in his, and as far as we understood, he was the Lakota tribe. But
Correct.
for him, when he died, he scattered to the four winds.
Right.
Supposedly, right? He was in
Right.
the earth. He was in the wind. He was in the wings of an eagle. What does he
It
move?
was exactly what the Lakotas believe in.
Yeah.
It's his other side. It's his happiness. It's his,
He's
and he
he
believes that he can still do work from there and get his land back, by doing what he did, and believing what his tribe believes. And so we could put in whatever we want to as our baselines, but he had it way before we did, and he understands it yet.
Yeah. And essentially, Scotty, he's one with the earth. So you're asking him to move on, but we'll move on to where? He's right where he's supposed to be.
Right.
And he's fighting for what he's supposed to fight for. So you're saying, well, move on. You move on.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense to say, well, and move on to where? Move into the light to a Christian God? I mean, that doesn't, it doesn't compute.
Yeah, it doesn't play. Right.
So it was kind of at that point you kind of have to part as friends as much as you can, right? Or just say, I
Right. I mean, that's
respect
what we had to do. I mean, you and I, we had to not go down that road, of religion, because you don't want to do that. I mean, Tim and I have always had that thing, and we've had, experiences together where we've actually fought about different beliefs on religion and stuff, which is okay, because that's what friends do. But you're here with a whole crowd of people that you're leading, and it's not the place to get into religious debates.
Right. Right. So essentially, when it came to this Native American
That's
spirit,
why I'm saying, for you, I mean, you understood that, and you were one that was playing with, or doing with, what was it? Eagletwofeathers? That's what he said his name would
yes,
be in English.
yes, yeah, yep,
And Eagle said that, what I was impressed with, and that's why that's why you can't call yourself a cooler anymore, because you were his main. So first night you guys were enemies. The second night you guys had an understanding of each other, and you helped bring him along, and even in that last segment you were able to bring him along, and which I think is great, and you should take credit for that.
well, thank you. All I
I know
all
you
I try,
don't, but I mean, you should.
all I tried to do is to relate. That's all I could do. I mean, you can't do anything other than that, right?
Right, we can't, but we can relate, and we can tell him what we believe and what we understand, and we understood his belief and what he was trying to do. And even that was more than most people who go there understand. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, most people call him a demon, devil, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
None of that. He's none of that. Not even close.
right.
Like his hatred, his despise for the white man, can be taken that way, can be taken very scary if you don't know what's going on. if you don't work to find out what the spirits are. And that's the one thing that the reason why I still love Tim is because Tim and I have never, ever gone down that road. We've tried to find out the spirit and what the reason they're there and what we can do to help them more than we can help us. You know, it's always okay to help the homeowner, but it's better to help the spirit. Correct, Tim?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we had a very good conversation with Eagletwofeathers that second night. We all decided to stay together and go in the basement. And yeah, it was a lot of questions answered, a lot of interaction, and I would think that the people that were there to join us enjoyed it because, I mean, if you're into the paranormal at all, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Tim mentioned, the second night, all four of us went down to the basement because all four of us have never investigated together before. So it was kind of a treat to get together and investigate together. So what was interesting was again, Eagletwofeathers came forward. That situation got resolved. Now, Tim, I don't know if you want to talk about the situation or not. If you don't, tell me. But you had some people come through for you.
I will never shy away from talking about that stuff because
okay.
I think it's important to let people in and let them.
Yeah, because they came for Tim and Lauren. So
yeah,
for both Tim and Lauren.
What was happening and why, and it was a real special moment. But I think I'll let Scotty and Lauren talk about that because they were more in the moment than I was. I was doing a lot of crying.
Well,
This is unusual because Scotty, you said this the first night, and I'll be honest with you, on investigations, I'm not used to this happening where your loved ones come through on investigations. Normally, I'm used to dealing with whatever spirits are there.
right.
I've almost never seen someone's loved ones come through on an investigation. So this is the first time I've actually witnessed this. So go ahead, Scotty.
That's cool. That's cool for you because that's the thing that I guess then I might be the one that's drawing them in, you know, because I want the full experience for everybody. Because like I said, those two ladies had their loved ones come in for them. I think their dads came in, both of theirs. And then Tim's dad came through and had messages for him and Lauren. Well, and then Murray did too. Murray had one that I brought out earlier in front of everybody. But yeah, Murray's to Tim was, don't give this up, don't stop. You know, stop questioning yourself. You're doing the right things. This means a lot, not only to you, but to everybody else that you're helping. And then it's also to the animals. And so that was a very cool message from Murray. And then I guess you had thoughts about stopping again, Tim?
Yeah, we had discussed it. What was it? After the Gettysburg event?
Mm-hmm.
Going into the event, I said, I will consider it a success if it seems like people care. Because it was a new event, I didn't expect to raise a lot of money. So it wasn't monetary. But coming out of that weekend, I just got the feeling like maybe we had overstayed our welcome. And just everything that happened at the Palmer House this weekend kind of renewed my faith in humanity a little bit. And then getting the message from Murray, and then the things that my dad had to tell me and Lauren towards the end of Saturday night. Yeah, it was a special evening.
Yeah, I'm glad when family members come in. I know it's not, but we're getting into that space, into that realm where we want to talk to spirit. So why wouldn't our loved ones take advantage of that? Because when we're at home, we're too busy doing with the kids or going to a movie or going to the bathroom, right, Tim?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, if I could real quick, it actually, that scenario that you're talking about where loved ones could jump in.
Yeah.
Actually got turned around on Saturday night in that 4th hour. And I'll tell you how in a second when we jump into that. But
yeah, because I'm gonna get out in the 4th hour because we'll talk about it now and everyone can laugh. Go ahead, Tim.
Well, okay. So
I'm coming down the stairs.
we're not going to laugh at this, Scotty.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
can go ahead. Tim
moment.
already is. The other Tim is.
I
So,
am.
yeah, we already are. You guys
Go
can
ahead.
explain
Tim,
it.
I'll have you tell the story. I've been flapping my gums too much here, but tell
My
everybody.
ugly phony Tim can't see it.
So
What exactly-
everybody's gathered in the lobby of the Palmer House, and we're kind of just waiting on Scotty. He's literally the only person not down there.
Right. I'm
And
getting all my stuff. I got it in my hands.
I had
Fashionably late.
I had called him and I had texted him, and then I hear the bell, and he must have been up on the 3rd level.
Right.
And he's coming down the stairs, and we get a glimpse of him, and he turns and he has this big smile on his face, and he wants to wave to his adoring public, and then he just goes boom.
Then I go, boom.
At first,
I don't know if you can
everyone
see
was
it. You
concerned.
can't see it.
Just wanted to make sure Scotty was okay. But as soon as we knew he was okay, then it became fair game to laugh.
Yep. I was
because
very
the
much
way
like
he-
Gerald Ford or
the way he
Chevy Chase.
folded, and just disappeared, and how the smile left his face as he knew he was falling down.
Well, because you had that smile on your face, like such a cheesy grin. And
I was
then
so
you're just
happy.
gone.
I was going to have a great night. We were going to have so much fun. Everything was great. We had good dinner. We just had a Mexican dinner. Everything was good. Everything's good. Everything's great. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground live from New York. It's Saturday night. I'm laying on the ground and
I mean, I didn't laugh at you that night. I called the next morning to make sure.
oh yeah,
you were
yeah.
okay.
He called and then he laughed. I mean, that's
And
okay.
then I laughed.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, I wanted to
As
make
long
sure
as
you
I'm
were okay.
fine. I didn't break anything. Nothing was hurt other than my ego, but that was fine. So it was fun. Sec. I was doing my David Blaine, my disappearing act. I just was like, there I am. No, I'm not.
Well,
That's really what it was, though. Too, you were just up and then down.
Yep. Then I was
I,
gone.
I got up there, and you had used the ecto
Yeah.
as a cushion for your fall, so that was basically in 8 pieces.
Yeah. It was all in the pieces. I was like, dang it, my ecto REM pod.
And everybody was trying to put
I only
back
lost
together.
one
They didn't
wire,
care.
so everything's good on there. I can re-put that on the board. So it's not really damaged, so that's good. So we'll put it back together. But yeah, that was so the 4th hour, which Tim's about to talk with, I wasn't there. I was back up in the lobby because I was hurting
Well,
too bad.
I got concerned because I thought you had hit your head on the couch down there.
I did.
You did. Okay. So, yeah. So I thought
did, and I tore my arm up, and I tore my leg up. Underneath my sock, I have all kinds of tears. So yeah, I took a good fall, but I mean, just scraped. I mean,
you
how
pulled
many
the Super
times
Dave
as a
Osborne.
kid did we fall and scrape ourselves? You know, we just pick ourselves up and move
Yeah.
on.
You,
I did 3 hours. I did 3 hours of investigating after that.
I was impressed. You went for 3 hours after that, which was very impressive.
And then I had to go take some pills.
Well, and I don't blame you for that either.
Mhm.
Because you pretty much went from the 3rd to the last step right to the landing, right?
Correct. Right.
That's not a short fall, my friend. That's a long trip.
There goes Tim. But just so everybody at home,
Did we
anytime
lose him?
Tim laughs, he'll touch his nose. So watch it.
I was gonna say that's more of a
I'm
Super
gonna
Dave
look for
Osborne
that
type.
now.
You didn't know that, Lauren? I should have told you that a long time ago.
Put 2 and 2
Always
together.
touches-
No, I didn't.
He always touches his nose. He always goes,
Or he like inches it. Yeah, he does.
yeah, always.
Yeah, that's not a Dan Aykroyd pratfall. That's a Super Dave Osborne. That is a
Yeah,
that was-
that was pretty great.
It was so like I keep replaying it in my head. Like he has this big shit-eating grin on his face, and then he drops like 4 feet and he's just gone.
Like an elevator.
And it was like slow motion. Like everybody responded, but everybody did it slowly.
Yeah.
Nobody knew
So
what
like
to
your
do.
like your David S. Pumpkins, I went down the elevator right away. We're talking about before the show that Tim sounds like David S. Pumpkins.
Well, you were talking about it.
Yes. You
These
sound
guys
like it.
didn't know who David S. Pumpkins was. I had to send them the video.
Oh, good. Glad you like it. It's
Well.
funny. It's a funny sketch.
So yeah. So now I have to ask this question, Scotty, because earlier in the day you had been having issues with your knee. You said your knee had been feeling sore, but Okay, so let's get everything out of the way and let's play believer versus skeptic. Did you feel at all like you were pushed, or was it simply your knee went out?
I don't know. I can't tell you because all of a sudden my left leg buckled and down I went. I know I was having problems with it. I had problems when we got out of Tim's car and they went to see Lauren's grandfather's church, right? Is that where you guys went?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we got out of the car and I screamed to you because my knee was hurting so bad when I got out of their car. So my knee was hurting. So
You can't discount that, right?
yeah, I'm not one of those psychics that say everything's paranormal and
Right.
everything's spirit.
'Cause
So I will play it for whatever it could be. I mean, it could be.
When we got
Very
out at
much
the
so.
shelter, you said your knee had popped as loud as it had ever popped before. I think
Yes.
to paraphrase what you said.
Yes.
So okay, so if the knee was a little weak, then I could understand why you might miss a step or something like that, or something,
Right.
or even if
So-
you were waving to the crowd and having a good time, I could see how you'd miss a step and then tumble, because those
the Queen of England. Here I am. Whoa.
That's literally what it was.
because those stairs are really shallow there. I mean,
Yeah.
They're terrible.
yeah.
I mean, normally I wouldn't laugh this hard, but that's what it was. is
Like
he
you were
was
literally
his,
like
his adoring public was waiting for him, and then all of a sudden he just disappeared. And as soon as I found out,
public entrance.
yeah, as soon as I
And
found out
then-
you were okay, then I felt it was okay to laugh.
Yeah, that was fun.
Then he
See,
pulled
I'm the Liberace of the paranormal. So
he pulled the Mr. Billy Win.
yeah.
um because for a second I went, was he pushed? Because everything that had been happening, because I didn't see it. I didn't see you doing the smile.
We went back that night and I talked to Gail and that was her first thing. She goes, "Did you get pushed?" Because I've gotten pushed before and I got really hurt when I was doing with Larry Eisler in Rockford at an investigation. I had a big old cut down my face and my arms and everything. So I've been pushed many times by spirits. So very similar.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Okay.
It was maybe one of those things where they put their foot behind my knee and went, you know how you make somebody go like that when they're
The
standing
reason why I
straight.
thought maybe you were pushed had a lot to do with what happened in the 4th hour down there, and I thought maybe it was because they wanted you out of the way, and I'll explain when we get to that point. I don't mean to be cryptic, but I'll be cryptic. And Lauren, you have a lot to do with this 4th hour as well. It could be, and we'll talk about what happened with that Estes session, because it was really scary when Lauren had the headphones on, because she was syncing up with the dead man's bell in that 4th hour. But I don't want to get there yet. I want to talk a little bit about what was progressing throughout the night. I mean, we had Bob come out and we got that done. We talked to Tim's dad. In that 3rd hour, and I want you to describe for me, Scotty, in that 3rd hour, you said you were starting to wear down. Were you starting to feel more pain? Was it just getting more difficult for you?
Yeah, so it was getting very difficult for me. Yeah. I started feeling the pain but also the messages were very hard to come through all of a sudden. It was like I was getting a block. And I don't get blocked very often because, you said before we got on the air here, you asked if we took anything home. I don't ever take anything home. I mean, but the spirits were affecting me in a way that I don't usually get. I don't usually have them block me and block messages. But it was just really strange for me not to be as clear as I normally am.
Now, do you remember what was going on? You remember Matt kept showing up in that 3rd hour?
Yes.
And he kept messing with the bell.
Right.
Okay.
I
So
do remember that. Yeah.
right. So it was in that 4th hour when, and shortly before we went in, and I thought it was odd because I'll just be candid between all of us here. I thought it was odd that you turned to me and said, "I want you to take the investigation in the snowman room," because I would have thought because you worked with Tim before that you would have turned to Tim and said, I want you to take the investigation. I want
No,
you to,
something told me to tell you.
okay.
Something, I got a message that Tim should run. This Tim, not that Tim. But this Tim should run. So that's why I turned to you and said, okay, I'll tell him. Tim, you run.
All right.
Yeah, that was also the time when I was dealing with a pain behind my left eye.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was.
okay.
And
It was.
I removed myself from what we were doing for a bit.
Let's
Yeah, you
not
did, but you also helped me go upstairs, so that was nice. Thank you.
let's not skip over that because I want to figure out what was going on with you at the time, Tim, and how that whole thing started and generated. What happened that you started to feel the pain behind your left eye, and what were the circumstances from what was going on there?
I wish I could tell you. I just started to feel a pain behind my left eye, and it kept intensifying. And it probably went on for, boy, I probably was stubborn and dealt with it for like 15 minutes
Longer.
before I just got up and went upstairs and cleared my head a little bit. Yeah, it lasted the remainder of the investigation. I think I came down one more time into the
Yeah,
snowman room.
Yeah.
you came
And
down
then-
in the snowman.
Yeah, I left shortly after because I couldn't do it.
Did that pain intensify when you came back down into the snowman room?
Yeah. Yeah.
It did. That's what I thought. Because I saw you come in and then you kind of like you weren't gonna hang in for very long.
Yeah,
Okay.
when my head goes into my hands, there's a problem. And that's what I was dealing with, and there was nothing I could do to make that go away at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing anybody could do. Everyone's giving you healing and everything, and nothing's helping.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So let's jump ahead then to hour 4, because at that point you say, I want you to take the snowman room. We gather up everything. We go in there, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, the last couple times we've been in there, and the last couple times I've been in there personally, I've never had a great experience in there. It's generally been something on an EVP that growls at me and generally tells me it wants to take my head off. That's generally what I run into there. But I've never thought anything of it. I've just, I've had a lot of EVPs in a lot of different places and a lot of famous places that have told me it's wanted to take my head off or effing kill me, one or the other. But I've never taken it seriously. So I don't worry about it. So I thought, okay, well, we'll get into it. Well, as we were sitting there, the group was a little, I think, quieter than usual. I don't know if it was just because it'd been a long weekend or fatigue is setting in or it's the last hour or whatever it is. But Gail had set us up with everything and she had everything for the Estes method. And I've only done the Estes method a couple of times, but I didn't want to be the one to put it on. I wanted to see somebody else put it on and I wanted to work through them. And Lauren was the first one to do it. If I remember right, Lauren?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What was interesting about when Lauren did it, and you couldn't believe that it had happened, Lauren, but we watched your voice change. Do you remember this?
I mean, that's what you guys told me, but I do not know that that happened. Like, I wouldn't know that my voice changed.
Okay. Give me your impressions just from your side before I go into the different things that happened during this investigation, the different things that you were hearing through the box, because you don't have any outside stimuli coming to you, but what things were you hearing from your end as you were listening?
There was just a lot of yes, no, help, here. Like, I remember a lot of different things just saying like I'm here, but then I could tell you guys must have been asking questions to something because there was a lot of yes, no, and then there was no like pattern to them either. They're just very sporadic.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. At any time did the tone of the voice change? Did it get angry?
No, I mean, there was a time I remember getting frightened because it sounded like a very high-pitched like child and it was very loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I said holy buckets or something. But no, I don't remember the voices really changing.
Okay.
But I do remember Brian asking me like if I felt like I was channeling because my
Yes.
voice was changing. And I was like, I have no idea what you're really talking about because I was just in a zone.
Yeah. Your voice at one point, it went from your voice and it got kind of high, like when you said you heard a child's voice, but then it got low. And I'll explain where it got low, and why it kind of freaked people out. Okay, so
I
we're
think that's one of the reasons why I wasn't down there.
yeah.
And I think that's what was happening in the third hour with them blocking me is because I was feeling, because I told Gail, I said to watch me because I felt like I was going to channel.
And I think, Lauren, you probably removed your headset at the right time. Like, I think you maybe instinctively felt like you had had enough or something was getting into your energy too much. And I think maybe it felt icky to you and you were like, enough.
Yeah, I definitely like knew it was time. Like I was waiting for someone to tap me out. And then I could just kind of tell it wasn't gonna come from anybody else. So it was
Yeah.
my turn to just say it was done.
You were getting such good results. I think that's why we were also enthralled. I didn't say tap her out or anything like that, but
Yeah.
because everything was corresponding between the dead man's bell, even the echo and the cat toys. I mean, everything was bing, 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 bing. So let me explain what was going on, so people don't get confused here. Okay, so we go to the snowman room, and I'm trying to get people kind of asking questions. Um, and I'm like, all right, folks, I'll start you off with a question or two, and then I want you to pick it up. You know, how you try to get people in a rhythm. So I throw out a couple of questions and ask them to kind of follow up with my rhythm, right? I'd throw a question or two out, and nobody would kind of pick up the rhythm of the questioning. I'd throw out more than 3 questions, and one of the spirits, like Eve, or one of the other spirits that was, I'm going to use quotes here, air quotes, being held there, would tell me, stop, no pain. And that was coming through. It was either, I think it was through you. You're saying stop, no pain. And I was like, pain? What? And I'd say, are my questions causing you pain? And I would get yes from you, and then one ding on the bell. Yes, ding. Double confirmation. So somebody's obviously causing that person or that spirit pain by me asking the question. Okay, so why am I causing you pain? You know, but they wouldn't answer. Why am I causing you pain? Wouldn't answer the question. It would go silent. Well, then all of a sudden, as these, you know, as much like when I was in the other rooms with Scotty, you know, Eve would come forward, try to answer our questions, but then she was shoved to the background. All of a sudden, along comes Matt. Matt comes along, and ding, 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 ding. He's all happy on the bell. Oh, Matt's here. Matt, the little boy, is here. Now, all of a sudden, everybody in the group wants to answer questions. Here's where Joy's grandson came in really handy, because he's really knowledgeable about the building, and he knows a lot about the building, and, you know, out of the mouths of babes, right? The lady who was sitting to my left, I don't remember, forgive me, I don't remember what her name is, says, did you die in the fire? And he goes, ding, you know, dings on the bell once. And I believe you still had the headset at the time. You said yes. Do you remember? You had the headset at this point, right? Because you don't remember this part, I take it, right?
I do not. I
Okay.
don't remember.
I think you still had the headset. So it was yes. And I had asked a follow-up question. Did your family also die in the fire? To which you answered yes. There was a ding on the bell for yes, and then a little bit of a wait and another ding. So it was almost like he couldn't lie to me. So it was like ding for yes, and then ding like no. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that yes or no? Yes. He answers yes. And then you say yes, and then he answers yes. So I said, yes, they did die in the fire. Ding, ding, no. I'm like, wait a minute. And then Jax answers and goes, wait a minute. Nobody died in the Sauk Center Hotel. He goes, nobody died in that fire. The newspaper articles specifically said nobody died in that fire. All of a sudden, out of your mouth, shush, no, shush, quiet.
Oh, I do not remember that.
You don't remember that?
Mm-mm.
Matt.
I remember saying shush.
Yeah.
I do remember that. But it's interesting hearing what you guys were asking because I obviously couldn't hear the questions.
Matt tries to shush Jax. And I said, wait a minute. I said, Jax, say some more. And he says, well, nobody died in that fire. And you say, quiet again. And he says, nobody died in that fire. Some of the ladies that were here got injured, but nobody died in the fire. He said, Matt's not telling the truth. And I said, Matt, I said, wait a minute. I said, we're not dealing with a child here. I said, in fact, there's only one here, isn't there? And out of nowhere, and again, I had a talk with Joy on the side, and I'll leave that for the talk between Joy and I. Out of nowhere, Jack says, you're right. That's not Matt. I think that's Raymond. And I said, I think you're right. And I said, Matt, are you Raymond? You cannot lie to me. And I said, if you're Raymond, ding the bell once for yes, two for no. And he dings the bell once for yes, and you answer yes. And then I told him from there, from here on out, you're not to lie to these people. From here on out, we're going to have an honest conversation. And he got a little pissed. So that's where, and then that's when we started, and you saw from there what happened. I started to get stern with him. Because Matt wasn't Matt. Matt was disguising himself. And it even got to, and I forget what the young man's name was over on the right-hand side as the investigation kept going on. But he even said towards the end of the investigation when he had the headphones on, like he said, it's laughing maniacally in my headphones. And I said, he's just trying to flex. He knows what'll happen.
Joy's grandson was so proud of that, though.
Yeah.
He came running upstairs. They had to tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me the story. So yeah, it was really cool.
But he got that little flash. He was like, no, that's Raymond. It's not it. But he figured it out that Matt was holding back these other spirits.
Right.
Matt was the one who was actually this, whether you want to call it a pimp, a gatekeeper, whatever it was, he was the one who was essentially holding these other spirits back or holding them hostage or causing them pain.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the one who was disguising himself the entire time. So Matt was the one who was running around causing the pain and causing them to say help. So he's the one that the spirits need help from.
And he's the one that rolled down your windows. And we didn't even say your windows got rolled down twice.
They did. They got rolled down the next day. Actually, the side door got opened up on my van the second day. Yeah.
Craziness. Yeah, we had a lot of stuff happen. That was great.
Yeah. But that and I know somebody.
Would you say that my voice changed when you figured out that it was Raymond?
Yes, I knew the minute that your voice changed that Matt was not Matt. Because when your voice went low, I went, Matt's not Matt. I knew it was a different entity. I knew it was a lower level entity. I just didn't know that what its game was. I knew this much. And here's the other thing. I remember I said I was going to bring this full circle about a loved one coming in. The lady to my left, because he said Paul, because he tried to switch it up when I tried to call him out from Matt being Raymond. Because when Jax mentioned Raymond, he goes, the word Paul came through, and I think Lauren had said, Paul, Paul. She said it like twice. And the lady on my left said, my dad's name is Paul. I said, don't. We're not playing the game. Right? We're not playing any games with this thing.
Right.
In other words, she's thinking, my dad's coming through, right? Like in the other room. I said, nope, we're not playing the game. We're not getting deceived. It's trying to throw you off.
Right.
So, yeah. So I think what it was trying to do was just trying to draw us in and tell us stories and try to say, hey, look over here. Here's the shiny object. Don't pay attention to the other spirits. The other spirits may be asking for help, but I'm right here.
Right.
You know. So, yeah, it was an interesting time. But again, it's not my circus, not my monkey. So it wasn't up to me to do anything with that. Much like with eagletwofeathers, it wasn't my play to do anything with that spirit. It wasn't my play to do anything with Raymond either. So we just ended
But at least they know what's going on now, and the future groups can deal with it.
Yeah. So, but it was an awkward. I don't know about you, Lauren. I thought it was kind of an awkward end to the night because nobody left happy, right? It wasn't like people walked out of there happy sunshine. Like we had a great ending to this.
Well, I did dip out shortly after I took the headphones off because I was checking on Tim.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know what happened with when Shan put on the headphones.
What had happened, essentially, the way that we wrapped that up is essentially we stalled Raymond out because I don't want to use the term dog walked, but we essentially dog walked him for, 25 minutes. And there comes a point where when you tell him we're not going to sit and play tricks, we're not going to do tricks with you, and we know what you are, then we're not going to bow to you. Then he stops wanting to play. So that was essentially that night, right? And so he tried the fear tactics a little bit. He laughs maniacally in the Estes method in the headphones. He does a few fear tactics to try to get the others riled up. Nothing works. And I just tell him, don't fall for it. He doesn't have any dominion over you. Don't fall for it.
Right.
And at that point I said, you know what? I think this is over. Anybody want to go upstairs? We're done. At that point it was 10 after 11. So, it was already 10 minutes after the time we were supposed to quit. Some of them wanted to stay around and they were like, what else can we do? Right. And I'm like, there's nothing else you can do. I mean, anything else you do with this spirit, you're just going to get into trouble with. So.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah. So that pretty much was the ending. I mean, it wasn't, there were fireworks. There were plenty of fireworks that last hour, but it wasn't the kind of fireworks I think people were looking for. So first time I've ever had anything like that happen on an investigation. But
Scotty, were you able to tell where eagletwofeathers was possibly shot?
Yes, it was not too far from where we were.
Right, but do you get like a body placement?
In the back.
Okay.
So they even shot him. They shot him not even the right way, I guess. I don't know if you ever do it, but I mean, if you in the old days, in the gunfighting days, you always shot in the forward. You never shot somebody in the back because that was a coward's way to do it. But that's what they did. They did a coward's way to shoot him.
Interesting.
And then they took him to the river and put something on his leg and sent him in. Or yeah, because there's a river there somewhere too, right?
Yeah, we actually went and visited the following morning.
Okay, good, thank you.
I was going to ask that too. Did anybody get down there? But you said you two got down there, huh?
Yeah, we went down there, just said a prayer, thanked him for talking with us the night before, and thanked thanked him for trusting us with his truth.
Good.
And we stopped short of promising every group would understand. But we told him the next time we're there, we hope he remembers that we did.
Good. Yeah, I guess I said a silent goodbye before I left. Just I hope at the very least that we were at peace, right? That there's the least we could do is understand each other. I know that I can't correct what was done, and I can't undo what was done. But at least we can respect each other and move forward from there. It's tough to come up with a solution with a problem that complex, right? But you can only.
I just want to say one thing here. I fell down the stairs. Yay! Because we're too serious all of a sudden. So
Well, no. I mean, I was just going to wrap up that thought, and that thought is, you can only deal with now the living and the ancestors
Right.
there,
Right.
and figure out what common solution you can come to, right? And what would work today. So yeah, that's for sure. And Scotty fell down the stairs, Tim. So there you go. I mean, there's a little something to put.
Going back to just to wrap it up, the conversation. That's not the first time that Scotty and I have worked together and dealt with a spirit that always came across as people said they were evil or then they were negative. And we've had so much success with just sitting and talking to a spirit and hearing their story. And then all of a sudden you realize that they're not so evil. They're not so negative, and they just have a story just like every other spirit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to, peel back all the BS and all the stories and all of the tales that are told at a haunted location, and take the time to discover things for yourself. So I think that was the thing I was the most proud of that weekend, is we had that conversation with Eagletwofeathers.
Yes.
And we're able to not bring peace necessarily, because like you guys were saying earlier in the show, we can't make up for everything that happened.
Right.
The best we can do is try to understand why there's angst, why there's anger. But we'll never be able to make up for that. But having a reasonable and civil conversation with a spirit that, to my knowledge, hasn't done that before, I would mark that as a victory.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and a good one at that, I think. Yeah, a good one at that. And
that's my biggest thing about the paranormal. And everyone says, "Oh, we caught a demon, we caught this, we caught that." I said, stop trying to be everything, because you didn't really talk to the spirits.
Yeah.
You didn't find out the real stories. You're just sensationalizing the situations instead of really working with the spirit, because most spirits do not have that major negativity like that. I mean, there are some out there. I mean, like Fox Farms. I mean, I was there, that type of stuff. So it's there, but 95-96% of the spirits out there are not that mad. They got stories. They're probably mad because of reason, but what is the reason? Find out the reason and talk to them and find it out, like we did. And when you do that, then the whole situation is not this show, other than me falling, but that's the only show. But it's not the show for the spirits. It's there for them trying to get their stories out. And that's the biggest thing in any of the paranormal, is every spirit wants their story remembered.
Well, I'm hoping through today's show that a few people get a hold of it that are going to the Palmer in the future, and that they hear the tale of Eagletwofeathers and realize that when they walk into that basement, that when they run across him, they know exactly how to address him. And they don't make the same mistake that everybody else makes. And they can continue the dialogue and continue to have good dialogue with him and realize that he's just another resident of the Palmer. And can continue to address him respectfully and properly, and not make the same mistake that everyone else has made. and that by continuing positive dialogue with him, that, you know, they can change the story, so to speak, right? So that's kind of the hope there, because I really do.
We
What's that?
forgot one major thing
What's
about that weekend. There's a very cool pig there.
Well, yeah, we forgot about Joy's pig Marge. Yeah,
Yeah.
was there. Yeah,
Marge is great. Marge scared the hell out of me, that's for sure. I went to pet her and she grunted at me and I jumped. And then Tim and those guys were laughing too because they saw me jump.
Well, what happened that Marge grunted at you?
She just was sleeping and I touched her and she was like, "How are you doing?" Okay. Then she was okay after that, so I was able to touch her the rest of the time. But
Have you ever heard the saying about letting sleeping pigs lie?
No.
Well, now you have.
Only for dogs and pigs.
Okay. Well, I just told you about letting sleeping pigs lie.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for telling me now. I don't have a pig around me anymore. Jeez.
Not a pig
Could you do the future now? I mean, it's not in the past, Tim.
Well, you gotta let them. One, you gotta let them eat. Two, you gotta let them sleep, Scotty. That's the thing. Yeah, and then you get along.
Ours is so funny. She used to every time she walks, she grunts.
Well, you would too if you had all those weight on your feet. I mean, I got all this weight on my feet, and I grunt every time I walk. I'll tell you that.
Me too.
Yeah. So it ain't easy, you know, chugging around this much weight on your hoofs. Just saying.
Nope.
That's right. All right. Well, now, Tim and Lauren, you said you've got the anniversary, or the I believe you said 20th anniversary celebration coming up with Murray, right?
20th birthday celebration.
Birthday celebration.
Back here in Houghton Lake. Pawtographs Parafest 7, April 24th and 25th, 2026.
Okay.
That'll be our biggest event to date. And we're also going to be filming a documentary, a Pawtographs for Pooches documentary with Shane Pittman and his crew. It'll be airing on Beacon TV.
Excellent. Excellent. We'll look forward to both of those. And we'll, again, we'll connect that to our events page, especially the birthday bash, so that people can get tickets and get in on that. We always love good causes here at Darkness Radio. And of course, we're firmly behind Pawtographs. So we want to make sure that we hit that $150,000 goal. That's for sure. Scotty, what you got going on in your world?
Well, I have a show in Rock Island coming up with the 1st of October. And then I have SilCon. Is that in September? SilCon in September, then Rock Island? Yeah. I don't know. I have both of those coming up. So SilCon, Central Illinois. So I have those two coming up. And I think those are the biggest ones. And I haven't been booking any more because trying to find a job. So you don't know how that's going to play in your job time. So like I have to take off for Pawtographs. So I got to tell them when I get hired, I'm already off for that weekend. So sorry. That's one of my weekends. So, but yeah, I got to play that game. So yeah, I only got those two left, two major ones left. I got a lot of Ghostbuster things that I'm doing. So
very cool
stuff with the Mad City Ghostbusters. Yeah, you can find me anywhere. Scotty Rorek on any social media.
There you go. We'll also hook people up to your website as well. And we'll have links in the description of this program so you can look up both Pawtographs and Scotty and find out where they're going to be and get tickets to those places as well. So I wanted to, Tim, Lauren, Scotty, I want to thank you, all three of you, for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. And thank you to everyone that came to the Palmer House and especially, Tim, Scotty, and Lauren for making it the success that it was.
You're very welcome. Folks, that's it for this week and this weekend. I want you to go out and have a great weekend and enjoy your weekend. A couple of reminders before we get out of here today. One, if you're just listening to this program, you're not watching this program, well, shame on you. We want you to go over to the original Darkness Radio on YouTube. Go watch the program there as well, or just simply go to darknessradioshow.com and click on the show you're looking for. There's the video right there with the audio. It's all a one-stop shop. So you can get both right there and just click on the video. When you're done with the video and you like what you see, just like and subscribe. We'd like you to join the nation over there at the original Darkness Radio on YouTube. 2, the executive producer of today's program is Troy Palmer. Thank you, Troy, for everything you do. 3, if you want everything Darkness Radio and you have an Apple device, the Darkness Radio app is available right now in the Apple Store. If you don't have it, go download the app. If you have it and you need to update it, go do so while iOS 18 is still a thing, because iOS 26 is coming in the year 26. So we'll have updates for you when that happens as well. Let's see, what else? Oh, one more thing, and that is this. It's going to be a beautiful weekend this weekend. That's what I hear. If you are going out to any of the Renaissance festivals, if you're going out to celebrate, going out to have a picnic, going out to do whatever, make sure you take a disabled or elderly person with you, one of your family, a friend, whatever it be, and make sure you enjoy life with them. They need to get out as well. Take them out, have a great time. Be a light in someone's darkness this weekend. Just a message from your friends here at Darkness Radio. For Maile Fox, for Beer City Bruiser, for Jessica Freeberg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for watching and listening. The best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio.
For more audio and video archives of the show, intriguing content, and cool swag, check out darknessradioshow.com. The executive producer of Darkness Radio is Troy Palmer. If you enjoyed today's program, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend. And remember this weekend to go out and be a light in someone's darkness.